In Forza Horizon 6, there are over 600 different cars, but some of those cars are a lot more important to own than others, so I've put together this video of 10 cars you must own in Forza Horizon 6. Let's get straight into it. Kicking things off, we have the GR-GT prototype, which is of course the cover car for the game, and so it would be rude not to own one. It is officially a Toyota, but for some reason it's classified under a separate manufacturer of just GR in the auto show, so that's something to look out for. But the car itself is essentially a modern version of the legendary Lexus LFA. It makes the perfect machine for cruising along the Japanese country roads with. And while it doesn't come with the screaming V10 engine of the Lexus LFA, the 4-litre V8 doesn't sound too bad, especially when you lift off the throttle and you get the crackles in the exhaust. But if you're still not convinced with the stock engine, the game lets you swap in that LFA V10, so you can give it the very heart of the car it was built to pay homage to. Next up, we have the PLP50, which is officially the smallest car in the game. So for games of old school hide and seek, it's obviously going to be a pretty good car for hiding in. But where the fun really starts is when you head into the upgrades. Because if you swap in the 1-litre 4-cylinder motorbike engine, it can be upgraded to almost 800 brake horsepower. And as it weighs less than 300 kilograms, the power to weight ratio is highly optimal. So on the drag strip, it's not at all bad, and it can easily destroy most supercars. And elsewhere, it's just a crazy little machine, and definitely worth owning. Moving on to the number 8 spot, we have the Nissan GT-R R35 Forza Edition. The first thing you'll notice about the Forza Edition, in opposed to the standard R35 GT-R, is that it comes kitted out for drag racing with super narrow front tyres, big bucket seats, and the added aero on the back, as well as the anti-wheelie bar. But it's not all cosmetics. Its engine packs a whopping 2,790 brake horsepower, which makes it the most powerful car in the game. So unsurprisingly for drag racing, it's an absolute weapon, especially for the shorter drag strips that favour better acceleration. For all of the PR stunts that have a short run-up, it very much comes in handy, as you can easily build a lot of speed in a short distance. And its high-end speed is not too bad either, as it can comfortably sail past the 300 mph mark. However, getting hold of one is a bit of a challenge at the moment, as it is a wheel spin exclusive. So if you're not lucky enough to get one in a wheel spin, the auction house is your only option. As of right now, they are quite hard to find on the auction house. However, as the game gets older and more people unlock them in wheel spins, it will inevitably get easier, as there will be more in circulation and therefore more people looking to sell them. In the number 7 spot, we have the Hennessy Venom F5, which features in this video primarily for its straight line speed, topping out at over 300 mph, which makes it a great car if you want to easily get 3 stars on a lot of the speed traps, and likewise for the speed zones that don't have much in a way of bends. It costs about 2 million credits to buy one on the auto show, so if you don't want to pay that much, and you already have the Koenigsegg Jesko, then that's a fairly good alternative. However, neither of them are actually the fastest car in this game. That title goes to a certain little car that appears later in this video. But that car in question is not particularly easy to drive when maxed out for top speed, which is why the Venom F5 is a solid car for whenever you need a bit of speed for something and don't want to have to retry several times. Next up, we have the Deberty design Jeep Wrangler Unlimited coming in at number 6. And just so you all know, it is classified under Deberty as the manufacturer rather than Jeep, so don't go looking through all the Jeeps in the auto show and then complain in the comments that it's not there. As for the car itself, the suspension system of it is just insane, and it allows you to tackle terrain that most cars simply couldn't. And so it is a fantastic car for taking on some tough rock crawling event lab maps. For those of you who haven't tried rock crawling before, it's well worth giving it a go, as it offers a nice change from all the speed-focused challenges in the game. And with the Deberty Wrangler, you shouldn't get into too many frustrating incidents where you get stuck. In the number 5 spot, we have the legendary Mazda Furai. Now, the fact that it is even in the game is quite something, as only one Mazda Furai was ever made, and that burnt down in the hands of Top Gear back in 2008. And then after Forza Motorsport 4, it was absent from every Forza game, since they started to use super realistic realistic laser-scanned models of the cars, which of course would have meant the Mazda Furai would have been rendered in as a pile of ashes. However, because Forza worked closely with Mazda and got access to all the CAD data and original design notes, they were able to bring a realistic replica back to the franchise in Forza Motorsport in May last year. And then once Forza Horizon 6 came along, they decided to finally let us live out the dream of experiencing the Mazda Furai on the streets. And what a car it is. It has a glorious rotary engine which just sounds incredible. And with all of the grip and downforce it's got, it's an absolute weapon on some of the speed zones. If you weren't able to unlock one when they were available on the festival playlist, they unfortunately aren't very easy to find on the auction house as of right now, so we can only hope they become available to unlock again at some point in the near future. Shifting on to the number 4 spot, we have the Ultima Evolution Coupe 1020. Now this car can pretty much do anything. It can fairly easily 3-star most of the PR stunts, especially the off-road ones. It's an absolute beast when it comes to them. And it only costs 142,500 credits, making it very affordable. So if you're just starting out with the game, it's a great investment as you can easily tick a lot of boxes with it. And even if you're a more seasoned player, it's well worth having one at your disposal as a good go-to car for a lot of things. Coming in at number 3, we have the Formula Drift Toyota Supra Mark IV. With the game being set in Japan, there is a high emphasis on drifting, and with it generally being harder to get 3 stars on drift zones in FH6 than it was in previous games, it's important to have a good drift car in your garage. Realistically, most of the Formula Drift cars in the game will serve as a good alternative, but for this video I've gone for the Supra Mark IV as it's my personal favourite and, in my opinion, the easiest to hold angles with. It's fine to drive in the stock rear-wheel drive configuration, and it's actually quite fun. However, if you want to get really good scores on drift zones, I'd recommend putting on an all-wheel drive drift tune, as from my experience it racks up the score a lot better. Moving on to the penultimate car of the video, it's the Lotus Skura Motorsports Exige WTAC. In order to unlock it, you have to win every road racing event, so most of you will probably get most of the way to unlocking it just by naturally progressing through the game. If you haven't yet unlocked it, it's worth doing because it's a phenomenal car. The hugely exaggerated aero gives it levels of grip and downforce that are pretty much unrivaled, and the responsiveness of the steering is more or less instantaneous. So unsurprisingly, it's one of the best cars in the game for speed zones, as the amount of speed it is able to carry through some corners is just ridiculous. And if you toss on an off-road tune, it will cook just as well at the off-road speed zones. The only weakness you can really put to it is the lack of straight line speed. So for the speed zones where the bends aren't so sharp and there's longer straights, it doesn't perform quite as well. And then when it comes to time attacks, well, the car is literally tailor-built for time attacks, so something would be very wrong if it wasn't any good at them. The feeling of driving it with the way you can just dab the brakes, flick it round the corner and then plant the throttle again is an experience truly unmatched. Finally, we have the Toyota Sprinter Truno GT Apex Forza Edition, otherwise known as the AE86 Forza Edition. Unlocking it may require a bit of effort, as you need 5,000 points on the Master Explorer category of Discover Japan, so essentially you need to fully complete 10 of the categories in order to unlock it, unless you want to try sniping one on the auction house, which is quite hard at the moment. As more people unlock the car, there will be more in circulation, and so it will possibly get easier, although with that said, it's not like it is with the Nissan GTR Forza Edition in that regard, as each player can only unlock it once, and so the ratio of AE86 Forza Editions per player is never going to be favourable. As for the car itself, the Forza Edition comes with a bunch of upgrades and modifications that you don't get on the standard version, most notably on the interior, where you'll see the Sparco bucket seats and steering wheel. However, the coolest feature is the cup of water placed in the cup holder, which may seem fairly insignificant at first, but when you start driving, you'll notice the water sloshes around accordingly to your driving, which is just a rather nice touch, even if it's not realistic enough to show the water spilling out of the cup. More significantly though, and the reason this thing is at the number 1 spot, is the fact it is the fastest car in the game, topping out at around 325 miles per hour if you get a good run. As a result of being the fastest car in the game, it is obviously going to be the best car for a lot of speed traps where you can get a nice long run up, and likewise for danger signs. But it can also be a very nice fun car to drift around in if you chuck a rear wheel drive drift tune on it, as it has a a very good chassis and it's quite nimble and really able to hold the angles well. If anyone's interested in my drift tune, I'll put the share code up on screen, although I will just make it clear I'm no expert at making drift tunes, so there are probably much better ones out there. And with that, that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.